What's going on, guys? Welcome back to The Sports Case. I am your host, Casey Hudson, and I'm so excited to catch up with you guys because playoff hockey is obviously picking up. We're heading into round two. We know what teams are moving forward, what teams are looking strong, and what teams we are starting to feel that much more passionate about holding that cup above their head at the end of all of this. So we know that the Bolts versus the Panthers had their game 6, and heading into all of this, I just want to touch base on this really quickly. Heading into all this, people were favoring the Panthers to win it all. They looked like a faster team. They're obviously fast, they're physical, and they know how to force you to play their game. So I do understand where people were kind of coming in strongly on thinking the Panthers were going to go for it. If you were looking up statistics and betting wagers, you were seeing that out of 6 estimates, 4 people were going for the Panthers and only 2 were going for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I was pretty stunned. But the reason this didn't shake me or sway my thought or decision-making process was because last year, it's still last year, the bubble and the pandemic has thrown off my entire calendar, and I don't know when I'll get on board. So you guys have to bear with me. But last year, bubble, playoff hockey, they were counted out very early. People didn't expect them to perform as well as they did during the Red Robin rounds. What I liked about the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Red Robin rounds was that they got 3 physical teams. And if nothing else, the Tampa Bay Lightning have always been very skilled. It was that physical asset they were kind of missing that would help get them over the hump of certain games. If you get out-muscled, it's very tough to stay in tight games. And, getting Barclay Goodrow, getting Blake Coleman, Bogosian, whom we had last season, these guys helped us be a lot more physical rather than just relying on Eric Chernak to be the only muscle on the ice for us. So now that they've figured out that physical aspect of the game and they're pretty consistent with it, they're just this whole different team that's that much more exciting to watch. So I had to kind of pull that into this to say, I didn't count them out against the Panthers because they had that physical edge now. So, yeah, they were a faster team, but when they're playing tight defense, they know how to slow down the team, force them to play their game. Now, we saw that obviously starting off the round 1 series that they went into a 2-0 lead, and then game 3 was just a mess because how do you score 5 goals in the second period and then let off the lead? We've seen them do that a couple of times, but we know they know how to bounce back from those incidences or those situations. Then, game 4 happens, game 5, and then game 6. After game 5, there was a lot of praise to the Panthers goalie night. And, of course, you have to give praise where praise is due. For him to be, a 20-year-old guy, the third in the lineup to even be thrown on the ice in between the pipes and to perform the way that he did, nearly shutting out the Bolts, hats off to the kid all day. It was definitely a different look for the Bolts, but there were still some strong plays for the Tampa Bay Lightning throughout those 60 minutes of hockey that were very promising to really be confident they weren't about to lose 2 games back-to-back, number 1, and they weren't about to lose the series to the Florida Panthers, number 2. So I had high hopes leading into Wednesday's game 6, and you knew it was going to be a tight game. I didn't throw a prediction out there for you guys. I actually had a bit of a crazy day, but I definitely saw it being probably more than likely an overtime game. So that first period heads off, and first guy on the board is the big rig, Pat Maroon. That couldn't have been more exciting to see because what I've loved about this playoff series, especially for the Tampa Bay Lightning, is that those guys who have been in the hunt for a goal, those guys who have deserved one or long time coming, they've gotten those goals. And then to up the ante, to make it that much more exciting and that much more endearing, you get Anthony Cirelli with back-to-back goals game by game. Then you get Ross Colton back-to-back goals game by game. This guy's just getting started in his NHL career. And then the guy who helps control that fourth line, that piece that gives everybody their comfort, their confidence, he's the conductor of that fourth line, Pat Maroon. He comes in and finally gets a long overdue goal as well. So that was amazing for him to open things up in the first period. And the excitement on the big rig, it just gets everybody hype. And then having fans, and they were able to add additional fans for that game, was just electric. And yes, the play on words is just very suitable. Then heading into that second period was 1-0, Bolts up ahead, and they came in and they were very consistent. They still remained in their structure, even though the pace was the biggest advantage that the Panthers had against the Lightning, in my personal opinion. So like I mentioned a couple moments ago, they were really able to kind of slow the guys down just enough to control the game. And they carried that momentum into the second period, which The Lightning throughout this entire season, they've either had an amazing second period and a scrappy first and third, or they've had a strong first and third and then just let off the gas entirely in the second period. This is probably one of the most consistent games we've seen them play in a while. So second period was consistent. Steven Stamkos gets them on the board, leave it to the cap to make his mark. So then they go up to a 2-0 lead as the second period closes off. Then comes the third period where it just they seal the deal. Then it comes Braden Point, Alex Killorn. Now, Alex Killorn, I talked about this a little bit in the last segment. His game has changed so much from last year. I don't know if it's maybe because there are certain key forwards that we no longer have between Verhaeghe, Paquette. There's Mitchell Stevens played a lot more last season as well. He's obviously rostered, but not in the lineup. So there's just these key forwards that we had that were relied on a lot more. And Alex Killorn's always played a key role in every game. I truly believe that. But this time, it's just his game is at a whole different level, as I touched on before. So seeing him just kind of going off on the scoreboard is amazing. Yes, in the third period, he was the first one to score, and then the closeout score, the game-winning goal, if you can say that, because what I haven't even touched on just yet is the fact that Bassey shut these boys out. What better way to close out a series, to shut things down, to move on, than put the chip on your shoulder that you shut these boys out? After everybody was raving about Night in between the pipes for the Panthers the previous game before, it's like, okay, I see you, new guy. I see you, 20-year-old, but let me show you what the big cat looks like in between the pipes. Not so new, not so fresh, plenty playoff experience behind him, and he learned from somebody that a lot of goalies can look up to in Ben Bishop. I know Ben Bishop's biggest struggle has been staying healthy, but when he's been healthy and at the top of his game, he was, one of the best goalies in the league as well to contend with. So to think that Bassey learned from him, took some things from him, took some of his own unique abilities and honed in on his skill set, makes him one of the best. So I think there was no better way to close out a game 6 than a 4-0 shutout. So these guys are feeling good. They're feeling confident. They're having, that much more progress to be consistent within their structure, and they're having success with it. Obviously, another no-brainer that was a big benefit to the guys in Game 6 was having Barclay Goodrow back. It's funny because earlier today in press conferences, Coach was asked, did you feel that difference of Barclay Goodrow in the game? Barclay adds to the game in so many ways, between winning faceoffs, between being a contributor to dishing out the puck, between being in the right place at the right time, to the fact that he is a chippy guy and he knows how to be physical at the right time or draw on certain penalties. Barclay Goodrow is a huge asset, and that Goodrow, Coleman, and Gord line has been the fuel in so many games to either get things going or to carry the game on their back. So when Coach was asked that question earlier, it was funny because he mentioned that as soon as Barclay got injured, he would have tried to go out there and play the next day. They had to be the ones to reel him in and be like, look, you need to get healthy. You need to feel as close to 100% as possible before coming in and contributing. So you have to remember that this next man up mentality, the depth that the Lightning have, that depth is showing up and showing off so much. If you look over the entire season, even if you look back to the bubble during playoffs, there were moments where Cooch was out for a game and so had to step up, or having Cooch out the whole season, people underestimated us, but look at what they've done all season long. Not only with Cooch out of the lineup, not with some of the trades that they've encountered or the players that they've lost over the past couple of months, but if you look at the middle of that season, I mean, games like 38 through 45 or 47 to say the least, there are huge, impactful key players out of the Tampa Bay Lightning lineup. Eric Chernak was out for games. Rodo was out for games. There was a lot of guys they had to pull in from Syracuse, hence why a Ross Colton got so much opportunity. Jamil Smith is getting opportunity. So that next man up mentality and that depth has showed up so much over the season that now having majority of your key lineup together, if not all of your key lineup together, you have to expect great performances out of the Tampa Bay Lightning, where most of these teams have at least had the ability to count on their key guys through 90% of the season. I think the one other team that had to really break down to their AHL guys and, pulling in rookies and new guys was the Nashville Predators. And, they took a minute to find their rhythm. It was very impressive to even see them make it to the playoffs and give Carolina a great run last night. So all that to say that it was a great series versus the Panthers. You couldn't really ask for a better start in things, because with a fast and physical team like that, I think they prepare a team like the Tampa Bay Lightning for their next opponent, which takes me into the next topic. Yesterday, we saw Carolina almost lose to the Predators. It was such a great game to watch. But, of course, Carolina being Carolina, there's just too much talent on that team to not have pulled it off. But it looked scary there for a second. So Carolina ends up beating the Predators 4-3 last night, meaning they're moving on to face off with the Bolts, and they'll get home ice advantage on Sunday at 5 p.m. So the Bolts will practice tomorrow, and then they'll head off to Carolina to start round 2 of this amazing series. Now, heading into round 2 of this series, facing off with the Canes, I can't express enough that the Panthers were probably a great warm-up. And what I loved about playoffs in the bubble and last season was the fact that, they opened up against such physical teams that prepared them to go further, to play harder, and to really start honing in their skill set to win these games. We were concerned about how are they going to manage versus the Bruins, how are they going to manage versus the Capitals, and they did so well, and we saw how they were able to manage the Blue Jackets because of that. So I think that kind of translates to the same thing here. The Panthers, being a fast and physical team, really kept them on their heels, really gave them a lot of different looks to prepare for. So the Hurricanes have a little bit of a different system, but I don't think you could have gotten a better preparation than going against the Panthers to open up. So when it comes to the key players, we know that Kucherov has come back from 7 months of being off and overcoming the hip surgery to being a key asset for this team. But we all know that Kucherov is a very unique, special, and skilled player. Killorn, obviously, as I've already touched on, is amazing. And then Ryan McDonough back there, I don't think he gets enough credit or conversation revolving around his name. If you were to take an entire game to watch McDonough the entire time, to see how many blocks this guy makes, to see, how strategic he is back there, how much of a workhorse he is for this team defensively, and how he's able to push the puck up, it's really impressive. And it's also kind of sad to think that we don't hear about him more or talk about him more. But those are probably the 3 stars heading into game 1 of round 2 on Sunday versus the Canes. Now, when it comes to the Canes, we know Sebastian Aho is so skilled, so talented. He's very quick. His puck handling skills are just, they're up there with the elite. And then you have Doug Hamilton, which he's a great defensive man. He knows how to push pucks forward and play a north game. And then we have Slavin. Slavin was an issue for us when we faced off with them in the middle of this season. But once again, we had Eric Chernak out. We had, I think, McDonough and Chernak were out for 1, if not 2 of those games. So we didn't exactly have our structured defense. And when our defense plays a tight game, it really just helps our forwards let loose and commit to their structure. When the defense is a mess, it kind of translates throughout the entire roster. And that showed with the Panthers. So even though Slavin was a pain in the butt, I know between Slavin, Aho, and Hamilton, those are going to be the 3 stars heading into game 1, round 2. So, guys, I got a lot of feedback. I got a lot of chirping. I got a lot of support. I got a lot of love. I got a lot of hate when it came to the round 1 series predictions, game by game. But now we're on to the next, and it's just that much more exciting because we know the Canes are an amazing team. Once again, another fast team with a high skill set, and they just know how to put us on our heels. We also know that Tampa Bay Lightning are hungry. They're showing that they're capable of playing within their structure and their game, and that depth, that roster that they have, everybody can contribute. And when everybody can contribute, there's no reason not to win. So comment below, shoot a DM message. Let me know, what are your series predictions? Who's going to win this series? Who do you think has it in the bag? How many games? Are we going to another game 6? Are we going to game 7? Because these are 2 absolutely amazing teams. And then more importantly, what are your predictions for game 1? I will be back on here before game 1 to just give a statistical rundown between power play percentage, PK percentage, comparing the 2 goalies all in all. But heading into Sunday, 5 p.m., who's taking game 1 and what is your prediction? I feel like the Lightning are consistent at having that game 1 opportunity, whether they're tired or not. And then they do really well on the road. Maybe they are one of those teams that heavily thrive on, people rooting against them. But to open up on the road, I think that they could actually pull off opening and winning game 1. But I want to know you guys' thoughts and predictions for round 2, game 1, Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Carolina Hurricanes, and then also give me your series predictions. I cannot wait to catch up with you guys on Sunday and break down all things for game one before heading into game two. Don't forget to give us a follow, like, subscribe, comment across all social media platforms. TikTok is fun. Every game, there's something on TikTok with the guys that, I mean, you just plug in one of the trending songs and it just fits so perfectly. My favorite one that you guys have to go see is when Pat Maroon was chirping the Panthers, I think it was Bokhoff, as he was heading off the ice, and when he's doing the chicken dance to these guys, it just lined up with the music. I probably watched it 100,000 times and still laugh at it to this day. It might be pathetic, who knows, but you have to go watch it for yourself to actually tell me if it's pathetic. And then there was another great one with Vasi in press conferences after he just had a hell of a game, and he's just sitting back. He always sits back with his hat tilted and his head low. You think he's sleeping, but obviously it's because he knows he just put in work. And I mean, he's freaking Vasi. He's the big cat for a reason. So don't hesitate to go check out our TikTok and see some of the fun play on there. Obviously, we have like our regular videos up there as well. So you can follow us on TikTok. Follow, like, subscribe, and comment on YouTube. These videos are going up every other day. We have an Instagram where everything's across the board. Press conferences are usually on Instagram as well as soon as we wrap up press conferences. So hear from your favorite players, what they think about the game, what they're looking forward to, how they're preparing, what their mindset and mentality is. It's freaking playoffs. Don't you want to hear this stuff? I enjoy hearing it, so I'm sure you guys enjoy hearing it. And then Twitter, I'm always live tweeting throughout the entire game, my thoughts, comments, concerns, opinions, whatever the case may be, posting fun things for every single goal, putting up polls on what we think is going to happen period by period. So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share as we continue moving forward. Thank you guys so much for joining me on the Sports Case, and I will see you for round two, game one, Sunday at 5 p.m.